The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate Team.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
Can Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Hasliger Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Love.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
And subscribe Ulti TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of Ulti TV.
Regardez Ulti TV. Deviens un membre Ulti TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Top Ulti TV تلمه يروقين كما Ultimate بندروا منا. Si quieres ayudar a Ulti TV, puedes ser miembro de Ulti TV.
Everyone, follow Ulti.tv on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love free speech. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på Ulti TV.
Became member of Ulti TV.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec Ulti TV.
Like and subscribe, Ulti TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
with thousands of hours of experience.
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
We work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and news stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to Sunny Limerick, where we are here with the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. We have a semi-final matchup in the Grand Masters Mixed Division. I am Troy Weston, and I am joined by my good friend Benji Reese. Benji, who we have playing today?
We have in the semi-finals for you, Happy Campers of your native Canada, taking on Surly Grand Masters Mix from the USA. And given the product that these teams have put on the field so far, I think we're in for another treat.
Yes, this has been a great matchup for these two teams coming in so far. They've had a great record coming into this semifinal. Have you got any stats there, Benji?
Let me see if I can fire up the stat machine, and I don't mean Etienne, who's sitting on stats next to us, who I'm sure will be doing a brilliant job as always. For Happy Campers, everyone on the roster contributes. Danny Saunders doing most of the throwing, 14 assists this weekend, while Patty Hill has herself at 15 goals. For Surly, again, getting contributions up and down the roster, including 12 assists from Daniel Hunt and 12 goals from Ryan Austria. I mean, it's Österreich, but I've translated it from German.
Very nice. This should prove to be a very exciting matchup here as we get going and underway. The wind has kind of died down a little bit. This is actually one of the first days I've gone without my beanie or toque.
Yeah, I've noticed no windbreaker either. You're for Canada, this is positively summery, I guess.
Oh, it depends on where you are in Canada. But
I know that Canada actually gets really hot, and I'm very glad that I do not live there as a result. Anything more than like 25 is I'm melting. So
yeah, definitely don't want to go to the southern bit of Canada then in the middle of summer, because it definitely gets hotter than 25 there.
Yeah, that does not surprise me. But here, as you mentioned, not much wind in Limerick. Temperatures probably in the mid-teens. The sun just about peeking through the clouds. Probably just about ideal ultimate weather.
Yes, but it can change in any moment, as we have seen throughout this week so far, especially in this bowl where we are for this showcase game. The wind can pick up, change direction, move that disc around, and it can be very unexpected and unanticipated. So we'll see what happens this game.
Yeah, we have Surly wearing the black jerseys with kind of the bright striping on the side, whereas it is the white jerseys with the blue detailing for Happy Campers.
Looks like we're going to have Surly starting off on D, Happy Campers receiving on the right-hand side of the screen as you would see it as a viewer.
Are we live? Are you sure?
And the pull is up in this semi-final matchup. Disc is centered to Cham. Hurst. Back to Cham. Sorry, Hill. Right. And Hummerston tries to keep on to that disc but doesn't quite manage. And Surly will have their first chance at a break. Hunt. Throws it up to Slimmer, but there will be a pick call on the play. So Slimmer will hold the disc while everyone resets.
A break on the first point. Be a somewhat ominous start for Happy Campers.
And a round break puts the disc maybe 10 yards outside of the Happy Campers end zone. Surly looking good right now, but a run through D by Hill will get the disc back in the Happy Campers' hands. McFarlane to Frisbee, an apt last name as we all know him in Canada.
I was going to say, that is about as good an example of nominative determinism as I can imagine.
But there is an overthrow by Happy Campers, and Surly get the disc back.
Both sides maybe making a little bit of a struggle to adjust to the slightly swirlier conditions. in this natural amphitheatre here at the University of Limerick.
Yes, I don't think either team has had the chance to play in this stadium yet. Hunt now with the disc, looking for something downfield, finds Slimmer for a reset, and then back to Hunt. York and Slimmer. Surly really liking their handler resets right now. Happy Campers doing a good job to minimize options upfield. Oostenrijk. And that will be a turnover. Looked like maybe a bit of a turfed disc there. Difficult in this wind.
Yes, you could feel that the stall count was rising as well. So kind of maybe doesn't have time to set himself properly and just threw that one right into the turf. That was very strange.
Cham picking up. Finds right for a reset, but that is intercepted by Groman. Hunt up the line to Oostenrijk, and a first break and first score by Surly.
Nice start to the game here for the Americans with that break on the game's first point. But for both sides, everything's not looking on the same page. You're getting some sort of wires crossed along the line because neither side's really finding it easy out there. It could be the wind, it could be the conditions of the defense, or maybe the fact it's a semi-final, there's that extra little bit of pressure and you're being streamed as well, as Oostenrijk has the presence of mind to hop that into the end zone. But whatever it is, for both sides, not the cleanest of starts to the game, but certainly will be happier after that first point with that hold. And Surly represented across 4 divisions here this weekend with this Grandmaster mixed teams and teams in all of the open divisions, Masters, Grandmasters and Great Grandmasters as well.
Wow, that is a lot of players from that
right?
club.
A real Masters program, which is something that's lovely to see.
Could be a bit of attrition as well. Great Grandmasters, you know, I've heard some of the players that I've spoken to on the sidelines, their goal is just to make it to the end of the tournament.
I mean, to be fair, that's my goal, and I'm not even Masters age yet, so I get it.
Hunt with that rolling pull, Saunders to pick up. And just a bit of a miscue, misthrow there.
Yeah, I was going for the throw and go and got a lot of go and not enough throw on it.
Sinclair centers the disc to Hunt. Happy Campers trying to shut down the options upfield, but a quick little dish pass to Nord finds himself right outside the end zone.
Just going to wait for this to be checked back in.
Players fighting for that open side. Hunt again with the disc, proving himself to be pretty main handler on both the O-line and D-line right at the moment. Nguyen patiently waits for someone to get open, and a diving player on Surly can't quite grab onto that, so Happy Campers will have another attempt at this offensive point for them.
It's a good bid there from Hunt, but it's always a little bit too far away from him. He loses his footing slightly, makes the bid anyway because you never know, it might come up with it, but on this occasion it's too far, and Happy Campers immediately huck.
And that's Weir underneath that huck from Saunders, putting up a spicy flick herself. Really nice grab and read and continuation there from Olender.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking that, okay, we turned it over quickly. Let's make sure that we're not going to give Surly another short field. So this time, especially when you're trying to maybe capitalize on a bit of, not laziness, but just that transition going from playing defense, that sudden change to offense. They look for the deep huck here to Ware. She gets it on point, and as you mentioned, Olender making that continuation, streaks free into the end zone. And there's nothing the defender can really do. A couple of steps behind. And the goal is good. And you can see in the green jerseys there, the game advisors just signalling as such. They're not making rulings one way or the other. They're just, you know, echoing calls, providing clarifications on rules and offering perspectives if they are asked to do so, but they are not referees and thus they do not make any binding judgments.
Happy Campers will have to get a break here to even out the breaks, but the score is tied at 1-1.
Yeah, you definitely think that despite the name, Surly probably the happier camp than their opponents right now, having got that early break and have found it relatively easy, I think, to turn over Happy Campers' O-line. Is this an offside call? Maybe, maybe not.
I'm not sure. Either way, the players seem to sort it out on the field, and we're underway. Brayshaw. Disc is on the sideline, can't be kept in bounds though.
I like the effort there to try and toe that line, but I think at any rate, even if she had been able to cling on to this, she wasn't able to do so, but you may as well make the effort, you never know. We'll see if Happy Campers can take advantage of this early opportunity to get that break back.
Smith and a bit of a pop up there by Slimmer, but Cham manages to get that on the second attempt and swings it across.
Another one to add into the potential catch your D's reel.
McFarland now.
Sorry, Slimmer, had to do it.
And a big arcing backhand, finding Chasse in the end zone, but there will be a call as our tent nearly blows over.
Yeah, making a blade like that is, you know, sometimes it's dicey even in still conditions, but we've just had a huge gust of wind try and blow the tent towards us. The wind, when it gusts, and it can gust quite strongly, almost coming kind of directly towards this near sideline. Quite a fierce crosswind. So putting up that blade is it's a risky shot in my opinion.
Disc comes back to Young and finds McFarland up the line. Background to Young. Looks for that swing. Nobody's there, though. Cham comes out. Nice swing across to a streaking into the end zone for the score, Alana Schick.
And just like that, Happy Campers bring it back on serve. Clearly, both those O-lines struggling to adapt to the very changeable Limerick conditions. It's been a problem for teams all the week, and especially in the stadium where it's slightly different to a lot of other pitches, both in the ways it's orientated, being kind of, at this point, it's a crosswind rather than a straight up-down like it is on some of the other pitches. And especially, as we mentioned, the fact you can see this grass banks all the way around that do create like a little wind bubble here that has it swirling around. Does make it difficult to read and difficult to control the throws. But Happy Campers there, utilising that fundamental dump swing offense as they find Schick for the score.
And now we're even on breaks and back on serve as Happy Campers get ready to pull. And it looks like number 5, Danny Saunders, is actually going to be the one to pull it. He is actually the executive director of Ultimate Canada and my boss.
I was going to say, does that make him your boss?
It does indeed.
So, just to clarify, he's not your boss just because he's the boss of Canadian Ultimate, and as a Canadian, that includes you, right? You do actually work for Ultimate Canada.
That's correct. I am the events manager with Ultimate Canada.
So it's not just like in the same way that Cy Hill is the boss of like UK Ultimate, but not actually the boss of every Frisbee player in the UK. Only the people who actually work for UK. I get it, right? Okay, on the same page. Does that mean that you're not allowed to smack talk him if he does stuff? If he does bad things?
Absolutely not. We have a good relationship. I can smack talk him.
Oh, excellent. I will happily join you in that, assuming he makes any mistakes.
A hunt with the disc now for Surly, trying to work it through a Happy Campers cup. Finds a Bailey just popping into that cup there. Trying to get it off this forced sideline because this is the low side. You don't want the disc on the sideline for sure.
Yeah, they've got open throws right to this sideline, but generally if they can avoid it, they don't want to take them because they don't want to get trapped right on the line.
Bailey finding himself open again. Frisbee almost gets in the way of that, but we do find Stonehouse is able to get underneath that one and knock that away. That was a bit of a Hail Mary pass almost from the sideline.
It's so difficult because you're trying to cut that throw kind of directly against and across the wind. He wants to get that inside out shape on it, but you can see there the wind picks it up and it curls it away from the receiver. Stonehouse gets the line and winning the height matchup as well. That's a put that I wouldn't necessarily advise, but you can see why it went, desperately trying to get the disc off the windy sideline.
Saunders trying to move his mark, finds Hill, who centers it to Ware. Over to Frisbee.
And we know that Ware can put it, as she did for Happy Camper's first point.
Disc is back on the sideline now with Saunders.
And the wind picks up again.
Taking charge as he's directing his team to get a little bit more spacing. Stonehouse now. Tries to find Kane in the middle, but Hunt gets in the way.
Yeah, that's an example there of seeing a receiver you like downfield and locking onto them, but not actually kind of seeing the field as a whole. Because if they had, they would have seen that Hunt was just sitting in that lane a little bit, maybe anticipating that little break throw to the front of the stack.
A spicy crab by Ike.
Love that one.
Dumps it back to Hunt. For a moment, I thought that was a hand block, but I guess he just reeled in that big fake. Big throw up now. And a great box out by Bailey. Finds himself just outside the end zone.
I think there might be a foul called here. Frisbee tried to come from behind and maybe just got caught up on the ankles a little bit. My main man, Lockwood Murray, has provided a tasty beverage to the booth. What a king. And this time, it's not even alcoholic.
One for both of us. I get some beautiful tea.
And I get a fizzy drink that I will not mention because they don't sponsor us. I know where the priorities lie. Just going to be a bit of discussion about this call. One of the other things that game advisors also provide in their role is that they their timing, how long these calls take, not because there's a set time limit of it has to be resolved by this time, but also because it kind of just helps players get an idea of, we've been talking about this for a while, let's maybe think, are we realistically going to come to a resolution? This one is resolved as an accepted foul call.
Oh, I thought it looked like it was retracted. Hand signals can be mixed.
Yeah, so
it's retracted?
Yeah, retracted is you kind of wave them in front of you, and uncontested is you have your arms, palms open, down by your sides.
Either way, it looks like the disc is staying at the end zone line with Bailey. And Münsterhaus is patient with her cut and gets open for the score.
This is generally what teams like to do in the end zone, is they try to set up little isolation plays. See if you can get a player one-on-one, because at this level, most throwers really back themselves to break the mark. And with a cutter, if you get one-on-one there, you're thinking, okay, the defender's got to defend the open side hard, but also they can't just let you have a free pass on the break because it's so tough for a force to stop everything. So you try and set up these isolation plays, especially in the red zone, where space can be at a premium. This time, just a little drop of the weight, too far towards the break side, and that allows Münsterhaus to go towards this near sideline and make the catch to even it up at 2 apiece. But so far, no clean points.
I think people underestimate as well just how much effort or how difficult it is to coach or to get that idea in the heads of all of the other players on the field to clear the space that they're trying to isolate someone in. We see a lot of tendency, particularly with newer teams, really wanting to crowd the Frisbee, crowd the disc, because everyone wants to get their name on the stats board, or everyone wants to be the one to help the thrower. But it's those experienced Grandmasters players like we have in front of us that know when and where to get the disc and when and where to clear into space as the Happy Campers bring it up the field. Chasse with the disc and a high arcing flick looking for Schick in the end zone, but that will come down into the hands of Nelson. Either way, it will come back to the thrower.
Yeah, there's a player for Surly who's got a hand on her face, so maybe just got a bit of contact with an arm or an elbow as they came through. I'm not sure. On to your previous point about the isolation. Have you ever watched young children play football, by which I mean soccer?
Yes, they
everyone chases after the ball.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, so knowing actually you need to keep yourself spaced out to give yourself room to work is something that, as you mentioned, these players in the Grandmasters age division will be more than happy with, and trying to come to a resolution here on this call. It looked like it was York for Surly, who maybe got a little bit of a bump there.
Nelson with her hands up saying no contest, so the disc will go back to the thrower.
Yeah, it's not an uncontested receiving foul because the foul's not on the reception itself, it's on the deep cut. So the disc will go back to the thrower as opposed to being a turnover. I don't know why I just did the hand signal for turnover in the booth. No one can see me, the camera's pointed at the field. It's just force of habit, I guess.
Everyone tends to talk with their hands. I've been doing it all tournament long.
It's one of the reasons why WFDF brought in hand signals.
It's very, very helpful when players on the field are using those hand signals to let us know what's happening over here, so we can let the viewers know what's happening and we're not just sat here going, what's going on?
It's also great in matchups where there might be a language barrier. There's not with USA versus Canada. But when you get those more international flavours match up and it's quite difficult to get the message across, the hand signals are a good way of doing that. And as you mentioned, has made our life a hell of a lot easier in the booth.
Disc about to be tapped in again with Chassé. Looking for her reset frisbee. Gets it up the line over a bidding Ostrich. Back to Smith. And an around break to Schick. Back to Smith. Olender on the sideline. Finds Smith up line. Can he toe it in? Yes, he can. Just outside the end zone, the far corner.
Oh, those trailing edge catches always make me nervous.
Olender to right in the end zone for the score, and Happy Campers with the hold.
Yeah, maybe we're seeing now that teams are adjusting to the conditions here, because that was a lot cleaner from Happy Campers. It got a little bit dicey maybe with that throw to the sideline and had that trailing edge grab, but secured it well, kept the feet in bounds, and then rather than getting trapped on the sideline, again, just trying to keep the disc moving, swinging it back and forth to change the angles of attack, trusting that eventually you're going to get a defender overcommitted one way or the other, and that'll leave their matchup the chance to get free. It's right on that occasion. Here we go, see it again on the replay. This was the throw from Chassé to, like, this is, that's always going to throw me, I'm sorry.
Frisbee?
Yeah.
Frisbee's going to throw you?
Shush. The fact that just say dropping it in natural conversation. And then, yeah, just a simple backhand from Olender to right for the goal. It's just a case of keep the disc moving, the opportunities will come. We don't want to throw it to someone because they're in the end zone. We want to throw it to someone because they're open. They just happen to be in the end zone.
And Wright did a good job there of just timing her cut just right so that she could get that continuation. Saunders with the pull. Disc is centered to Hunt. Seeing a bit of a zone look again from the Happy Campers.
Yeah, you do see quite a lot of zone in the mixed division. Trying to find ways to get gender matchups downfield, often by putting a lot of their smaller players in the front line of defense.
Brayshaw.
Hello.
Over the top push pass. That's risky in this wind. Back to Hunt.
I love it though.
Brayshaw again on the sideline. And Surly managed to crash into that and break through that cup for the swing. Hunt nearly losing the grip of that disc. Finds Bailey. Bailey directing traffic, but can't find a hole in the cup. Surly just moving it up a few yards at a time, but that is enough. Oh, got a little bit greedy on that throw. Couldn't quite connect with Walter.
Yeah, the look was there, I think, but just threw it perhaps before she was ready. Didn't quite have that eye contact that was needed.
Saunders now looking for the deep huck and finds it. Frisbee trying to get underneath that, or possibly Kane, but Hunt will come down with that disc for Surly.
I mean, he absolutely tore that one down.
McGrath, and back to Hunt.
You can see Saunders there looking to try and find a way to get that poach block, but he's out of position now. Can they find this player on the near side?
Bailey with the disc, centers to Hunt. Some tight defense downfield is making it difficult for Surly to find something. A near D by Young, but a little give-go, and Hunt finds himself with the disc yet again.
Yeah, they started on match defense this point, did Happy Campers, but after the quick turnover, didn't find the opportunity to set it up, so they've gone match instead.
And after a bidding catch by Bailey, he puts one deep into the end zone, and that is going to be picked off by LeBreton. And looks like one of the Surly players.
I think that is Walter, who's down on the field.
And it looks like there's a foul signal, and I'm guessing it was on the second attempt because I feel like that first D was clean.
Seeing there, this is the risk if you you bid for the disc and you don't get it. Takes a little bit of time to get back into position, and that leaves that force not putting enough pressure on the open side throw. And then the first block is more than clean enough, and maybe on the second attempt there's a bit of barging there, the disc tailing out of bounds. And it looks like a contested foul.
Like, I'm going to say if that was a foul on that second attempt, I'm not sure Walter would have been able to catch that disc as it was trailing out of bounds anyway.
I'm not sure, but she might well have had the play on it and to make the attempt.
This is true.
Regardless, the players seem happy to have come to the resolution of the contested foul.
Bailey back with the disc, Saunders to tap in. Hunt looking for a reset, can't find it. A Hail Mary to the end zone, and LeBreton will get a piece of that again.
Seems whatever you do, LeBreton's going to be that deep, dominating defender. The throw had to go up because Bailey found himself on a high stall. Still 9.5 by the time he put it up. Just a case of get it away, get a bit of air under it, see if someone could make the play. And they could, but unfortunately for Surly, it was a happy camper.
Saunders, being one of the main handlers for Happy Campers, brings it up and centers it to Stonehouse. Young. Kane up the line. And a break around to LeBreton, who swings it across to Saunders. Young.
You can see what the plan is here. They're trying to leave that middle of the field free so they can get the big yard gaining cuts in there.
Young with the knee catch up to Kane. 20 yards to go for Happy Campers and this break. Young, but a miscommunication between Young and Kane forces a turnover.
Yeah, Young was in that space, but wasn't really necessarily particularly free, and was kind of being a bit indecisive about what he wanted to do there.
Hunt centers the disc and then goes for that quick give-go that he likes to do so much, and understandably calls a timeout, as this has been a bit of a slog of a point so far. So as the players take a minute to recompose themselves on the field, we'll hear from our sponsors.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate.tv.
And we are back after the timeout for this game in wonderful Limerick World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. Surly versus Happy Campers in our semi-final matchup in the Grand Masters mixed division. Sorry, I was distracted by that beautiful toss that we saw. Unfortunately, could not be completed.
Yeah, clearly. Would help if I moved my microphone closer to my face. Clearly drawing up a set play off the timeout. We just couldn't connect with it.
So Happy Campers will get another chance at a break. Right now, we've had a break apiece, so we are on serve.
Happy Campers just trying to open up a little bit of separation with a second.
Frisbee. Yes, his last name is Frisbee.
Young. It will take some getting used to.
Kane. Dish to Saunders. Fires one deep, but it's a bit low, and it will be easily picked off by the Surly defender.
Low flat hucks are almost always not the one, because the chances are there's got to be a defender somewhere who can get in the way. It's really situational when you can use those. That was not one of those situations.
Not sure that was the throw that intended to come out of Saunders' hands.
That is also very possible, yes.
Bailey with the disc on the sideline. Looks for that deep shot to Brayshaw. He could get underneath this for the score, and Surly managed to hold despite the numerous turns in this point.
Yeah, Bailey to Brayshaw, but it does feel like their offense is not all clicking together. That time underneath, they're just not really finding any consistency there. So a couple of times turning to the deep game to try and find a way to unlock this defense, which I don't mind, partly because, as we saw there, it works, but also because what it does do is it puts that threat of the deep throw consistently in the defender's mind, and with that there, you will find that it does open up space for those underneath options.
Both teams are doing a fairly decent job at creating that space downfield for their fellow cutters, which is nice to see. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that the handlers could use a bit of spacing on both teams.
Really well judged, actually, on that huck as well from Brayshaw, because with the disc going away from you, it's never as easy as it seems. We've all seen those hucks where you feel like you're catching up to it and it just keeps on going and you can never really gain that ground.
Especially going downwind, as that definitely was. Nord with the pull for Surly. Right to pick up. And centers to Oleander. Big gainer up to McFarlane. Looks for that huck to Hill. Hill needs to turn and run towards it because the wind just took it a bit, and it will not be completed as it went a bit too far.
Yeah, you're seeing there what effect the wind has because it suckered her into getting way too far underneath the disc, and Hill just could not track it until the end zone. Obviously been very effective at doing that so far this week, being Campers' top goal scorer, but just not on that occasion as Surly turf it right back to Happy Campers.
Olander for the arcing, looking for the score in the end zone to Hill, and that will be caught and completed for the hold. Still on serve.
That's a visionary shot because that is so difficult to execute in this weather, and I must admit that I did not see it. You've got to be brave to take on that sort of blade going over the top, but I guess the bravery was repaid. Graham Hill making the catch. Been playing for 28 years, which is nearly as long as I've been alive. Organises local leagues and tournaments, and was a Canadian club mixed champion in the mixed masters division back in 2018.
Olander really trusting his receiver with that throw into the end zone, because that could come down really quickly and hard in this wind. A bladey catch for sure. Good hands by Hill.
Yeah, with you expect all around this tournament, and as you go up the age brackets, there is experience aplenty. So even faced with tough, changeable conditions, you think that, you think that they have the know-how and the veteran savvy, we'll call it, to try and make the best of every single throw. Try and work out, rather than fighting against the conditions, how can we use them to our advantage?
Stonehouse with the pull. Hunt is in the center with the disc for Surly. Almost missed a slimmer as she turned around away, but realized she was getting the throw. Back to Hunt. Trying to get that throw off before the cup could set off around him, but it did not work, and Happy Campers will be going in the other direction. McFarlane.
Just needs to feel like they put a little bit more touch, backspin, finesse almost, if you will, on some of these throws, because they're being bulleted or they're being thrown too far. You don't have to get it all, you just have to get enough.
And that was a run through D by Exley.
There's a call a long way away from the disc.
They're saying it was before the throw. Depending on what the call is, it may or may not come back. Because if it affected the play, then it would come back. But being so far away from where the disc is now, I just can't tell.
Also depends, again, how long ago it happened. Because if it was way back when Happy Campers were on offense, that changes how the offense would have played and might have changed the outcome of that turnover. And I actually think that might be what's happened here.
So often when a call is made, there's one continuation throw that might be allowed to stay what the outcome of that throw was. But if it was two throws back, then it would go back.
Yeah, I also haven't seen a hand signal for what the stoppage was caused by.
Neither have I, but either way, McFarlane coming in with the disc for Happy Campers. LeBreton.
Lovely inside break to start things there.
But that will be a turnover. Alexandra Nelson couldn't quite get underneath that. Hunt now. And an around break, again, a missed catch by Slimmer.
I just think they're being too ambitious with some of these throws. You can keep it simple. They have open options, even if they're not, really strong yard gaining positive options. Just keep the disc moving and you'll find these throws become not quite as difficult as another difficult throw there. That time down the sideline.
Ware manages to toe that in and throws it into Hummerstein for the score.
But I think this might go back as well. The defender, I think it was Slimmer, maybe saying that there was a push through, or maybe I was wrong and the goal stands. Break for Happy Campers to take a 5-3 lead. Here's the shot down the sideline from Stonehouse.
Good job on Ware there, being very aware of where her feet were.
Yeah, and then turns, rather than looking down the sideline, which infuriates me a little bit, because if you're looking straight down the sideline after you catch the disc, half of your field of vision is off the pitch, which, with all due respect, not really interested in what's happening there. So actually turns, looks infield a little bit more, and Hummerston is slap bang in the centre of the end zone, and Ware finds him with that flick for her second assist of the game, after assisting, of course, with that deep shot on Happy Campers' first offensive score.
Smith, one of the captains of this team, for the pull. Great downwind pull, lots of hang time, giving Happy Campers time to get down that field, try to cut off the first or second pass.
Yeah, being a good puller is not always about how far you can put it. There are other things as well, and getting it to sit and float for a while to allow your defense to be right down there from the very first pass is one of those things.
Big backhand huck, looking for that end zone, and that will be Deed, but I think there's going to be a call on that.
Yeah, Österreich is the intended target there. We're seeing the defense from Graham Hill, and it did feel like they were very close, and there was almost certainly some contact there. Yep. Whether it affected or not, I cannot tell you because I wasn't feeling it, but I don't think it's an outlandish foul call.
Did look like Hill's arm came and hit the disc first, but then went and a follow through on top of Oostenrijk. So if he can't get that D without hitting Oostenrijk, then that is indeed a foul.
Hello to everyone watching, of course, on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. It is a pleasure to have you along with us, whether you are here in Europe or you're back in the USA or Canada in the past, about 5 hours plus in the past. It is good to have you along with us.
Don't worry, even though we're in the future, we won't tell you what happens.
No, partly because we don't know yet. We're not that far ahead.
Players are still discussing that call. They do have the option, if they wanted to come and look at footage or have one of their teammates come and look at the TV footage. We cannot offer it for them, but if they chose to do so, they can do that. It looks like it will be a contested foul and therefore go back to the thrower.
Yeah, again, we're finding that Surly are going for these deep shots frequently often to try and open up their offense because the unders are being marked out really well.
And if the deep shots don't turn out, well, then Surly at least gain position on the field, and they're making Happy Campers work all the way down the field again to score. So either way, they're getting some position on the field. Opts for the short pass to Oostenrijk that time.
Yeah, following the very American trend of patriotic tights. You can see the red and white stripes there. Would not put money against there being some stars further up the leg.
Surly punching it down that sideline. Hunt finding a jumping receiver into that end zone.
Often the most dangerous person with the disc, the most dangerous person as a receiver is the person with the disc, because if they can get it out of their hands quickly and get going, and as a force, obviously you want to try and be kind of on the balls of your feet, kind of ready on your toes to go, because if you're on your heels a little bit and the thrower goes and then takes off, it can take you a second or two to catch up, to get back into position. And you see this here, collects the dish off and then immediately takes that upline space with the defender caught a little bit behind. You can lead them there and assume you don't put it so far out in front that a player can come in and get the poach block. Then it can be very fruitful for you, as you see there, with the goal and the timeout called.
So as the teams take a bit of a breather, so will we, and we will be right back.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member
and
fund
our
our
work
work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
And we are back for our semi-final matchup of Surly versus Happy Campers, US versus Canada. A very common matchup we are seeing across the world stage.
Yeah, especially maybe in the Masters division, countries where Ultimate's just been more of a thing for longer, like the North Americans, USA, Canada, do tend to have strong Masters programs.
Olender with the disc. Opts for that first open pass to Nelson. Stonehouse.
Nice leading throw there.
and tries to do it right back to Nelson, but she can't get underneath it. And so Hunt now will pick up the disc for Surly.
Good option there. Very handler-driven offense, leading those throwers into space. I like the idea. That time the execution was just wrong. My word, that was bulleted into Erstrike's chest.
I thought that was going to get picked off for sure. Groban. York. York directing traffic, chooses to go back to Groban. And a swing around to the sideline. And Oostenrijk. Slimmer. Big backhand huck from Slimmer. Finding Hunt right outside the end zone line. This could be a chance for a break here from Surly.
The shape on that just took it past the defender, but it couldn't be jumped into the end zone.
Nord now looking for something just outside the end zone, finds a streaking Slimmer, and Surly get a break. We're now back on serve. Two breaks apiece for these teams. What a game we have on our hands.
Yeah, very hard fought. Every time you think a team's maybe got a stranglehold of it, the other seem to find a way of loosening that grip, forcing their way back into the contest. This time you're seeing one of the advantages of getting the disc towards the break side, because that cut comes from Slimmer all the way from the open side. The defender, of course, is taking that open side out, but maybe what you need to do is kind of be a bit more conscious, have the disc in your peripheral vision and try and orbit around that receiver a little bit there, because she's making that cut towards the break side. And actually what's happening is, rather than being a difficult break throw, because the disc is set over to that break side already, actually it's just a simple pop into the end zone.
The wind still swirling around in the stadium here. And Surly with the flick pull.
Love it. What a bomb as well.
Oh, and Happy Campers, a missed throw on the first pass. Surly have a chance for the double break here.
You see the advantage of a bit of a solid pull there, because it means that, sure, the pull might not have caused the miscommunication and the turnover. That might have come from just a miscommunication or players not being set up closely enough. But it means when you get the turnover, the field is right on the end zone line and Surly punch it in.
That was Nguyen with that pull. I got to attribute some of that point to him for getting all of those yards. Surly with the break.
Yeah, taking the lead at 6-5. I've spoken about this many times on live streams over the years, about the importance of pulling. A timeout here from Happy Campers. This makes sense, to be honest, having been scored on 3 times in a row. That the one thing you can guarantee will happen every point is one team is going to pull and the other team is going to receive the pull. So the fact that teams don't spend more time working on it, either, with the pull, thinking about, are we pinning it deep? Are we floating it? Are we getting a difficult roller? Are we trying to trap them on a sideline? Whatever the strategy is. And as an offensive point of view, either setting up a pull play or just kind of adapting. If the pull's, going to go deep towards the back of the end zone, for example, there's no point setting up your stack at the brick markers if you would normally, because you're 30, 40 yards away. You're giving yourself way too much work to do. Off the pull, I always think the best thing to do is, make sure that the people catching the pull are kind of behind. There's no point having your furthest forward player catch the ball and then wait for 10 seconds for everyone to kind of flood past them. You want to get the people at the back catching it. And I also think you just want to get the disc moving quickly, so those defenders already starting the point early on a little bit out of position and allowing those cutters to free themselves up downfield.
Benji Reese with the coaching tips for today.
Yeah, sorry about that diatribe, everyone.
I'm sure everyone appreciates a good bit of advice.
Yeah.
It's up to them whether they want to take it or not.
Right, I feel like saying this, I should be, the world's greatest puller. Absolutely not. I have veritable noodle arms.
Well,
but
you know
that's
what
not
they
the
say.
point. Yeah.
Those who can't do, teach.
Well, exactly. Those who can't teach frisbee. Hello to all the coaches out there watching. Actually, I mean, we say that, a lot of players, once you kind of progress through the Masters age brackets, take on coaching as a way of giving back to the community, bringing through the next generation of players. And it's, all of us wouldn't be here without, at some point, having a coach who kind of put in their time and their effort to, help bring us through, be that on the field or on the other side of the tech equipment. So they just about get away with that one. So, very thankful for all of our coaches.
LeBreton up the line to Saunders, over his head, and Nord will be sure that that is deed. York. Finds an around break to Slimmer. Up to Osterreich. York. A huge around flick. Great find. Kresowick just outside the end zone now.
Love that throw.
Nord. Slimmer. Sorry, York. But can't quite connect on that and convert that D this time. So LeBreton for the Happy Campers will pick up.
Tricky throw that, trying to get that inside break towards the far sideline, because you can't get not enough on it because that allows the defender to close, but if you get too much on it, it's going to go out the far sideline.
Dumps it back to Saunders. LeBreton in the middle.
This is what I'm talking about. The handlers are in the middle of the end zone and everyone else is set up way downfield. It does mean that you would get a big gainage of yards on any undercut, but it does make those cuts a little bit more trickier to get free.
Ware now with the disc on the sideline, finding Cham for the inside break to Olender. But it will come back to Cham.
I must admit that I didn't see the travel, but then I wasn't looking for it.
Again, I'm going to say a lot of people call travels on lefties sometimes, just expecting a different pivot foot. And when they take the step with the foot that they're not expecting, they'll call it travel.
There's also nothing stopping a right-handed player or a left-handed player just pivoting on the wrong foot. It is maybe not advised, but it's perfectly legal.
And a big backhand tuck from Groman will unfortunately not be completed there, just a bit too far downwind. Saunders picking up.
But again, if you're Surly, you're thinking, okay, we've been able to get the turnover, so, we back us to do... Oh, wow. Nelson got really close to that one. Yeah, you're thinking, even if we don't connect, we know we can turn them again.
Kresowick. To York. Back to Kresowick. Pick call. York swings it across and waiting for another pick call.
This is better though, I think, from Surly, because they're taking the resets, the freer throws earlier in the stall count, keeping the disc moving and reducing the degree of difficulty on every throw. Generally, I find if you look off an open option earlier in the stall count, it's usually to try and make a much harder throw later on under more pressure.
Nord with the disc. And a bidding Young can't quite get there, so Surly maintained position. So a great catch under pressure there from Osterreich. Back to Nord.
Almost lost his shorts on that one.
This time Nelson's bid gets the D. And she takes off, but Saunders, looking for that big huck, will take the safer option to LeBreton. Olender now on the sideline. And we will have another timeout call from the Happy Campers.
Yeah, both sides get 2 timeouts to take per half. And if you don't use them, it's not like, well, we've got 4 a game, so if we only use 1, we get 3 in the second half. It is very much 2 per half.
So as the teams take a little bit of a break on the field, we will take a break here in the booth as well. We'll see you in a bit.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
We're back on the pitch. Happy Campers versus Surly GMX in this Grandmasters mixed game. Up the line toss to Cham.
Nice shot there coming in off the timeout by our Ulti TV crew.
Ooh, squeaks went into Saunders. LeBreton with that up the line shot and looking for that up the line shot again to Saunders. I'm not sure that was the best option there, and it will be a turnover.
No, you could see as soon as LeBreton threw it, she turned away in disgust, knowing that not only had she overthrown Saunders, that actually it's not even the easiest throw to try and slot in there anyway, because I think they would get a little bit too preoccupied with getting it in on that front cone, and the defenders had realised that.
Big backhand huck from Nord, who has discarded his sunglasses. Great grab on that reception from Kresowick.
Holy smokes.
And another big backhand, but Nelson is there in the way of Osterreich, and that will not be completed. But there was a foul on the throw, so it'll come back.
Yeah, maybe this is an example of the, you'll hear it called the rule of 11 or the conservation of greatness, which is every time you do something awesome, try and do something sensible instead afterwards. Because otherwise, yeah, the so-called frisbee gods will punish you. This is a brilliant grab, leaning behind himself to reel that one in, and then maybe slightly impetuously wanted the huck, or maybe felt the contact and felt that actually, if it works, great. If not, we know it's going to be called back on the foul.
Slimmer back to Nord. Back to Slimmer. And Nord again, these two playing a bit of give and go. That's going high into the end zone, and it will be brought down again by Kresowick.
I'm not sure that's what Nord was looking for. There's the whistle for the half-time cap as well, which we'll explain in a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to say convincingly that Kresowick was not the target on that one, but the throw floated, and credit for having a good read on it and not getting sucked in too far underneath it, but knowing that this is the position that I need to hold. I can come in here, keep it, and bring it down for the catch despite the defensive pressure. Nice around to get it over towards the break side. That's what I like as well. Not just getting the swing, but looking for the continuation. But the throw sailed. Fortunately enough, Kresowick was in the back of the end zone. You also had the whistle go for half-time. That doesn't mean we have half-time now. What that means is you finish the point, and then you add one to the highest score, and that becomes the half-time score cap. So it would be, you know, we finish this point, add one to that, and that's the half-time score. But because the highest a half-time can be at 8, we've just got a half at 8 anyway, so it's almost like nothing happened. But theoretically, that is the point. So let's say it's 4-all when the half-time cap goes, and then someone scores to make it 5-4. It's half at 6. Basically ensures that you do get a half-time in every game, even if it's a really attritional contest.
And that's 4 breaks in a row from Surly, so Happy Campers really needing to hold this O point and get a couple of more breaks for themselves if they want to stay in this game. McFarland now picking up, centers the disc to right. It just sails over her head, though, a bit too high for her, and Hunt will pick this up for Surly with another chance to break here.
Again, they're not giving themselves easy throws, you know. It's a good yard gainer, but you're trying to get a little bit of break on it. You can maybe set up easier looks for yourself.
Exley. And a pick called downfield will stop the play.
Players just crossing over each other, covering themselves up.
Exley taps the disc in. A high throw to Hunt, but no one else around him. He comes down with that fairly easily. 10 yards to go outside the end zone line, but he dumps it back to Barton. Barton looking for something downfield, patiently waiting. Something opens up, but no buts at all. That will be caught by Surly for half, and another break. 4 breaks in a row to take half.
Yeah, Munster House scores. They were 5-3 down and they take half 8-5. Surly have put on the Jets, although I think Barton gets away with this one a little bit because has eyes locked downfield on the end zone Everyone's guilty of getting end zone eyes occasionally. At no point really does he turn and look to see if he can maybe get an easier reset, get the stall count going. He's always thinking about that deep shot, and as the stall count rises, just sees players coming into space towards the back of the end zone. There is traffic there, but Munster House sticks the catch, and that'll make us 8-5, Surly lead at half.
So the players are going to take a 5-minute break at half and recompose themselves. We'll also take a break now, and you'll hear from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
Yeah, exactly. We need a beer. I'm not going to get beer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I saw was all above the head. I didn't see anything down here because I couldn't see it.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Hartlinger Elfalkel. Fantastic run by Julia Lutz.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
Let's subscribe Ulti TV. There's lots of the videos, posting everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of Ulti TV.
Regardez Ulti TV. Deviens membre d'Ulti TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Top Ulti TV veľmi eroginky-me Ultimate vendromene. Si quieres ayudar a Ulti TV, puedes ser miembro de Ulti TV.
Everyone, follow Alti.tv on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love free speech. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på Ulti TV.
Became member of Alti.tv.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec Ulti TV.
Like and subscribe, Alti.tv, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and news stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Hello and welcome back to the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships here at Limerick University. We are watching the semi-final matchup in the Grand Masters Mixed Division, Surly versus Happy Campers. Surly now with the disc, bringing it up the field, looking for a 6th point in a row. Happy Campers needing a break here to make up for some lost points in the first half.
Yeah, we're 5-3 down at one point, went on a 5-0 run, and now receiving to start the second half can hopefully, from a Surly perspective, cash in this offense and put themselves in an almost unassailable position.
Bailey with the great centering pass, breaking the mark. Brayshaw now back to... Wow, what a quick score in for there. Bailey to, who was that? Exley? Exley for the score.
What you're seeing there from Ollender, though it's a really good bid and it gets close, it's always the risk-reward with this sort of thing, because if you get it, obviously, great, you've got the turnover, but if you don't get it, he's in no position really to put any pressure on this throw to Exley, and maybe it could have done with some, because Exley has a little bit of space, but there is another defender there, thinking maybe about this poach, if it's overthrown. So maybe you can force a little bit of pressure. The disc doesn't go where you want it to, and you can clean that up. But as it is, with no force on, just punch that into Exley at the front of the goal. It's now 6 on the spin for Surly, as they make it 9-5.
Nord holding the disc for the pull, and I have to say I'm glad he took his sunglasses off. I'm not a fan of playing in or with somebody that's wearing sunglasses. I don't know about you, Benji.
No, I think stylistically it's a bold move. I'm always worried that they might come off and it's not even that sunny, although I do appreciate that there are some people for whom playing in specialist glasses are necessary.
Yeah, if it's necessary, for sure. But I've definitely worn sunglasses whilst playing sports before and gotten a black eye from doing so.
Oof.
LeBreton to pick up.
Also, you might just break them.
And a rolling catch from Frisbee centers the disc to Saunders. Back to Breton, and Kaner in the end zone with the diving catch. Might come back.
There is a pick call. I think Sanders is coming through. His defender's trailing him, and another defender's trying to get the mark, is trying to get into position to put the mark on. But as a result of the pick, they're not able to do that.
Yeah, so it's not a result of her not being able to catch up with her defender on the cut, but it's not being able to put the mark on. So the disc will stay with LeBreton.
Yeah, and especially as that throw went to the break side, you can see the effect of not being able to get the mark on.
Saunders now with the disc just outside the end zone. A push pass to LeBreton that looks like it is knocked down. No call on that. And Surly with the disc.
I love the ambition from your boss. I don't love the execution.
Just refer to him as my boss.
Well, just to remind everyone that just because you're in charge of Automat Canada doesn't mean that you can't be called out.
Ogadal with that throw just over the top of Nguyen, can't bring it down, and Smith to pick up. Senders to LeBreton. A swing to McFarlane. Kane. Saunders. Likes that deep shot. There it is, looking for Nelson, but it is over her head.
It's ambitious, I will give him that. It's an ambitious throw, but the wind is always pushing it over the head of Nelson. It's a really tricky weed, and I think she knew that this was tailing towards this side. She just couldn't catch up to it.
No, catching that tailing edge of the disc is so difficult. York to Nguyen. Ogdal. A miscommunication there to Nord, and it will be a turnover inside the 10-yard line for Happy Campers.
You've got to punch this in. Short field, center of the end zone. You will scarcely get a better opportunity than this.
You know, I was just about to say I'm calling a low release flick here from LeBreton, and she does, but Frisbee can't hang on to it. So, again, Surly.
Yeah, the window was there. You could see all the defenders on the open side. There's definitely the window for the break. Maybe it just didn't quite go early enough.
Nguyen, a jump catch, but missed it.
The risk of going for the crab catch there is that, especially in this wind, the height of the disc can vary quite rapidly. You're not maybe creating enough of a target for yourself.
Saunders with no mark on him outside the end zone. Over to LeBreton. Finds that in the wind, tracks it down. Back to Saunders. Saunders and LeBreton playing a little bit of a give-go, and here it comes again. Looking for that end zone, Saunders reels that in for the score. Happy Campers with a much-needed hold.
Yeah, with the placement of that throw, the defender's on this kind of inside channel, so you need to get it out early into space. So in terms of that one-on-one matchup, the only player who's ever going to get there is Saunders because he's got that body position. But there was a bit of float on that throw, and if some of the defenders on the players in that stack maybe have their heads up a little bit because it's not actually that far away from where the play is, there is the potential, I think, for the opportunity to just notice that and flash into that space and get the block. And I think actually you can see there that Groman sees it, she just sees it too late.
And I have a viewer back at home that is watching the Happy Campers and cheering them on. I would like to give a shout out to the Wolfpack. So hello, Wolfpack out in Canada. Thank you for watching.
Happy Campers finally back on the board after a 6-point run from Surly. They're only 3 behind, and you know, we've seen them put some breaks on the board, so they are not out of this.
Olender lining up for the pull for Happy Campers. Players signaling that they're going to bring the disc into the brick mark. When it sails out of bounds, if it lands out, they are allowed to bring the disc in either at the sideline where it crossed, or they can bring it to the brick mark. So if it crosses the field at the brick mark or later, it's definitely more advantageous to bring it to the center of the field. Brayshaw. Ike. Dumps it back to Bailey. Back to Brayshaw now.
Very distinctive look with the tracksuit trousers under the shorts.
Bailey fighting through his defense there to get it. Brayshaw and Bailey definitely playing a little give-go back and forth here. I don't think anyone else touched the disc in that point except for Ike one time, but it worked for them, and Surly punched one in.
Yeah, a nice little duet there in the end between Bailey and Brayshaw. When that upwind cut that ended up in the end zone from Brayshaw initially went, I thought it wasn't going to get thrown to, because Happy Campers defense did a good job of recognizing that, look, these two are just kind of happily playing some smooth jazz between themselves. They're not really interested. And they begin to flash out there, but they don't stick with it. And yeah, again, put out nice and early to space. Islanders always a few steps behind, and Surly get that 4-point advantage back.
Happy Campers are really going to have to come out with some tough D and to get that turn on the Surly's O-line so that they can get some breaks rolling in if they want to tie this game up.
Surly's O-line hasn't turned it over since the point to make it 3-all, although their O-line has only taken the field 3 times since then. Such has been the long break train that they were able to get going.
And a big pull from Nord. Disc is centered to Chassé, back to Smith. Big Huck looking for Saunders. Will he get there? Tracking it down in the end zone for the score. That's my boss, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, if we can chew him out when he does something bad, I think it's only fair that we throw a little bit of praise his way when he does something good. What a throw, by the way. Just uncorking the long, long shot. Saunders, I thought for a little bit, maybe he was caught too far underneath it as it tailed towards the sideline. But maybe he knew exactly what he was doing and just closing off that avenue by taking the defender over that way, under the disc, and then having the opportunity to sprint closer towards it, making the catch and making the score 10-7. Good to see that there are, good spirits and, back slaps all round.
Yeah, the Surly player congratulating the Canadian on that well-read disc.
So Happy Campers, of course, Canadian.
Yes.
Whereabouts in Canada are they from?
Mainly Victoria, so the capital of British Columbia. There are a couple of Vancouverites also on the pitch, I can see. We have, there's actually a native New Zealander who had moved to Vancouver long ago.
I was going to say, that's a bit of a commute.
Moved to Canada long ago. Looks like there's a Saskatchewan pickup as well. So a few from across the country, but mainly Victoria, Vancouver.
So the majority 8 hours behind us. So it's about 8:15 in the morning out there.
Yes. So if you're up early in BC and watching this game, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Bailey with the huge backhand fake.
I mean, that is some fake.
Brayshaw back to Bailey. These two playing at it again. Hunt now in the middle. As we hear Happy Campers sideline calling for a melt to match D.
Yeah, started out in that zone, but Surly got it down the field quite effectively, and the shot to Brayshaw is too high.
Just overhead. I like the idea from Slimmer, but that wind again, or potentially just a bit of an execution error.
Yeah, maybe feeling the pressure of Young, feels like he has to get that right at the apex of his jump and overestimates his ability slightly, or underestimates the height of the disc, one of the two.
Happy Campers creating some good space, but Surly defense being tight on that. Frisbee towing the line. Centers to Cham, back to Young. Can't find that swing around, but finds Kane in the middle for a big gainer.
A gainer for Kane.
Actually, her nickname is Kaner.
Oh, happy days.
Olender now with the disc on the sideline. A nice shimmy fake from Cham, and she gets open up the line. Young. Good communication from Olender and Frisbee. Both have been playing together for quite some time, so not surprising there.
And I thought Young rushed that throw a little bit, but as you mentioned, good communication and good backup as well.
A choice I'm not sure I might have made. Will it be completed? Frisbee in the end zone. Again, two players. Oh, sorry, that's not Frisbee.
That's Fraser.
Pardon
Still
me.
an FR, and there's an S in there, but this might be coming back. Still don't think it was necessarily the most judicious of shots.
No, but it might have been a high stall count. And in fact, actually, I think it might be a turn, and that's why.
Yeah, uncontested stall.
Yeah.
In the end, it was actually on the mark, signaling that. So now I totally get why the shot went deep, but just didn't get it out of his hands in time.
Yeah, very understandable shot there then. And Bailey to pick up. Hunt. Slimmer. Back to Bailey. We're seeing a backhand force, and an IO backhand will come out to the end zone for a leading pass to Exley. Beautifully read and taken in, just outside the reach of Olender there.
God, that's an absolute jaffer of a throw. Look at that. I thought for a while he wanted Brayshaw coming into this under space, but actually the coverage was good, and with the stall count rising, thinking, let's see if we can get a play made in the end zone. And what a throw to set this up. Just takes the defender over to that break side a little bit to allow the space for this voluptuous inside-out shape on the throw. What a rope to Exley at the back of the end zone. Brilliant throw that out of the hands of Bailey. That's his 4th assist of the game. He's having fun out there.
We've been trading back and forth since half. We had all of our breaks took place in the first half still, so it is 11-7 right now for Surly. Surly 4 points away from moving into the finals.
Yeah, which we will see take place on this pitch tomorrow at 1 o'clock local time is the current schedule.
The winner of this match will take on the winner of Hijinks versus Molasses Disaster, which are in the other semifinals. And I won't ruin the outcome for you. That game did happen just before this one, but it was also streamed. So if you want to watch that later, I won't tell you who won that game. So you'll have to go and check it out.
Yeah, whatever happens, there will be at least one American team in the final. Surly hoping to make it an all-USA affair.
McFarland now with that up the line cut and a big huck to the end zone, looking for Hill and finds her. Great read and grab.
Yeah, at first I thought that Hill wasn't the intended target and they were trying to find Nelson and it was overthrown. But actually, as you mentioned, Hill had that tracked all the way, had Ike beat, and, you know, just goes to ground as well, just to doubly make sure that she's creating that nice little backboard with the torso as well. Brings it in for 11-8. And this second half continues to be all offensive holds.
If Happy Campers would like to break up that American run in the finals, they're going to have to make a run of breaks right now or very soon indeed, because it is getting close to the end of the game. We have about 18 minutes left in regulation time if we don't get to 15 first.
Yeah, it feels like the game has picked up in pace after a slightly, what's the word I'm looking for? Scraggly opening.
Scraggly, not bad.
Yeah, it was the only thing that came to my head. But yeah, it feels like it's got cleaner. There's fewer turnovers. The pace has picked up. We're having slightly, whereas before we were having some slightly protracted discussions on calls, those have kind of been cleaned up and they're being resolved more quickly as well.
Hunt with the disc in the middle. Happy Campers with a zone, stopping any kind of pull play. A little scoober over top to Brayshaw.
Yeah, Hunt clearly taking his time there to survey the field, make sure he understands exactly what position everyone's in.
Brayshaw finds a hole in the cup, gets it back to Hunt. Now Bailey outside the end zone with a break flick back to Brayshaw for the score. The three of these guys really just playing it up the field most of these O points.
Yeah, saucy little scuba at the start to open things up. Seeing that space, leading Brayshaw into it, and then just, you know, dinking and dunking a little bit down the field. They think, okay, we're close to the end zone. We've got to find the transition to going one-on-one here. But really, they didn't quite have defenders in the right place for it. And then getting that break around, Brayshaw streaking into the end zone to reel in that slightly blady flick and make it 12-8.
Yeah, and I've got to say, the reason that you really would put down a zone is, like, 1, to stop a pull play, sure. 2, if you want to make the other team have a lot more throws, so more opportunities to make mistakes potentially. But here for a sec, we're just going to have a look at that.
That's a previous throw to the back of the end zone. I think that was the break for half.
But yeah, as I was saying, for the reasons that you put down zone, getting lots of throws in there for the other team for opportunities to make mistakes. Sometimes it can be helpful, obviously, in wind, forcing difficult throws. I'm not seeing a lot of difficulty from that Surly offense in that zone, though, and still easily scoring with not a lot of passes. So I'm not sure I would continue to throw it on if I were the Happy Campers, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily class it as an aggressive zone that's hunting blocks. It's more of a defensive one that's trying to, you know...
Contain.
Contain. Make you play the patient waiting game.
But it's not containing.
No, it is not. And yeah, I think that means probably put it back on the shelf.
Saunders with the sliding catch, give go to Smith. Finds Kaner up the field. Looks off Nelson, which was probably a good call with Nord right there.
I don't know. Laser that hammer over the top. Why not? I mean, why not? It's because it's a difficult throw. But it would have been fun.
Kaner with the nice pop in the middle through the zone. LeBreton on the other end of that.
I think the shot to this near side was there, but actually deciding to holster it, thinking that maybe for Smith it's not the disc in the hand's not quite in the right position. Maybe there's a defender coming to put on the force, so they redirect traffic to the far side and work it in for the score.
Stonehouse with that score, and I have to say, Happy Campers proving that their zone offense is just as good as Surly's there, as they just tick-tock down the field, find a few breaks, get a few over-the-top throws as well, and tap it into the end zone.
Tick-tock. I like that because there is something slightly metronomic about it, just keeping the disc moving, never letting that stall count get too high, giving and going, even when you're on your knees, as Saunders did, and just, you know, constantly getting defenders to make decisions, leave spaces available, and then finding Stonehouse at the front of the end zone, getting a goal to go along with his 2 assists already this game. And for Happy Campers, yes, you need to put in your offenses, but you need to find a way to get those breaks as well, and they haven't been able to do that since they broke to make it 5-3 in their favour. That was a long time ago.
Any break that is gotten now in this game is going to have to be upwind. The wind has picked up a little bit since the first half, I would say. Although our tent isn't blowing over anymore, so at least that is something. Thank you, Milan, for putting some spikes in our tent.
Yeah, it has to be very thoroughly pegged down here in the archetypal Irish winds.
Whew, nearly a missed throw from Surly there.
A bit spicier than it was obviously intended to be.
But Bailey will hang on to it. Exley. Back to Bailey. Brayshaw on the sideline and to Bailey, and an around flick to a wide open Slimmer, finding just a nice spot behind that wall.
I like that Slowly aren't afraid to show a little bit of creativity at times to open up this zone.
Bailey now eyes for the end zone. Again, one of those times he doesn't look for his jump, and it's nearly caught by Exley, I definitely thought that was a lot further away from him than it was. I didn't think he had any business even getting a hand on it, but he did.
Despite the bit of kind of blustery wind, that was quite indoorsy there from Surly, getting the cutter kind of streaking to one corner, although the corner in this case being the centre, planting and making that coat hanger style cut to the cone on the far side and trying to lead it in space with the blade, but just didn't get quite enough on it.
Saunders with the catch under pressure there. Looked like there was a bump from behind, but good spirit clapping hands before tapping the disc in. Young now with the disc in the middle. To McFarlane, who is the New Zealand pickup, by the way, who, well, not really a pickup because he's lived in Canada for years and years and years. Might be a Canadian in his own right now because his wife is. Saunders with that diving second hand catch. Right now with the disc on the sideline. Young, come back to right.
Yep, pick called, and you know it's a pick when everyone on the field says it at the same time because they all saw it happen.
And Wright, who has the disc right now, she's a dear friend of mine, and her husband was playing for Still earlier on this pitch today.
Yeah, against a Voltron.
I believe he's watching from the sideline now. Kane swings the disc over to Saunders. And another pick. Emotions are high. Happy Campers looking to punch in their first break since half.
Yeah, when space is at a premium in the end zone, everything can get a bit congested, and sometimes these picks do kind of increase in frequency.
Still, players are doing a good job of keeping calm heads with that discussions. Saunders patiently waiting for something to open up, finally turns to his dump, finds McFarlane. A nice streaking IO to right in the end zone for her second score of the game, and a break, a much needed break from the Happy Canters. First time in this half.
I thought for a moment that we were never going to see one and they were just going to trade out till the end of the game, but that is huge for Happy Campers.
You can hear their sideline just getting absolutely pumped by that break. We're going to take another look at those finishing passes. Leading pass and that smooth IO. Lots of room for that break pass to right.
Yeah, it's that pop that leads McFarlane just out in front a little bit, so he's catching it, and this is why it's nice to get those pops to the handlers, because rather than, say, if you're throwing it to a cutter downfield, often they're coming towards the disc, and there's a bit of time they take to catch, plant, turn around, work out what's going on. But if you're dishing it off to a handler, they're already surveying the field as they catch it, so as you see there, the catch, and instantly into that inside flick for the score.
Yeah, I always say when I'm teaching resets, you want to look for having three things. You want position on the field, so more towards the center of the field, the better. One is gaining yards if you can. And the third one is a power position, so you can see the field in front of you and easily continue that throw. And that reset pass had all three of those things. Not an easy feat.
Got to be a very happy Canadian next to me in the booth.
York.
Not that you have any rooting interest, obviously.
Hunter. Of course not. Brayshaw. Over to Nguyen. Slimmer. Back to Nguyen. Hunt again. McGrath. Just outside the end zone. Brayshaw streaking across for the score.
So despite the break on the previous point, credit to Surly for, you know what, put it out of your minds, it doesn't matter, we've still got this cushion, we can go down the field and put it in anyway. That time, again, Brayshaw, it feels like, has been a real engine for them in the cutting space downfield. Coming towards that front cone, it's tricky because he sees the sideline advancing and he knows that he can't necessarily go at full pace here. See again here, McGrath has a look at it for a little before going for that flick low release, and he's just kind of a little chop step as he's going towards the end zone. He's slowing down those strides, so rather than the more kind of dramatic and acrobatic, toe in and out of the sideline. It's kind of like the pitter-patter of feet to get it in the end zone for the score.
And I have to say that it's a bit of a blow for Happy Campers not getting that second defensive break going downwind, because now they have to hold going upwind, and that can be a bit difficult. So in this wind, you're really aiming to at least get 2 breaks in a row, so you get that upwind break and then the ever so important second downwind break, so you're not having to hold upwind. But anyway, we will see what they can do. Smith collecting the disc, centering to Le Breton.
And as you say that, the wind picks up a little bit, making going into the wind slightly harder.
Where? We've got a zone look from Surly. Smith with an arcing around to Nelson, who toes it in. Nice footwork there.
Inches to spare, or if you prefer metric, millimeters to spare.
Le Breton sneaks one through to Smith. McFarland and back to Le Breton. Little give go here. Kane. A hand block nearly results in a turn, but a heads up catch by McFarland will keep the disc in the hands of Happy Campers until an over-ambitious flick from Smith can't quite be held onto from Fraser.
You see the idea. He had the blade down the sideline earlier that came off, so thinking try this again, but there the wind sees that blade and it pushes it over the receiver's head, and Frisbee couldn't bring it down.
Nord with the big flick huck, and that will be reeled in. Osterreich.
What a monster of a hug.
It's the downwind. But an overthrow gives Happy Campers another chance to hold.
Yeah, Osterreich tracked it well, because initially I thought that he'd planted and come underneath, and got to change direction again and chase it down, but there was enough air on it to reel it in. Slightly fluttery dump pass to Michelson, and the two of them can't link up again. Good red zone defense from Happy Campers to prevent the break.
Frisbee on the far side, bringing it up to Ware. And I believe Ware's husband, Clay Howlett, is coaching this team on the sideline.
Wearing the 95 jersey.
Mm-hmm. Le Breton. Surly defense making it very difficult, calling a stall down there.
Yeah, that cup is relentless for Surly.
Surly knowing how important it is and how good it would be to get this downwind break.
But, despite that, retracting the stall-out call here.
And we have a timeout call from Happy Campers, I believe. Yes.
We do indeed. Thinking that they know the importance of making sure they score all their O points. A break here would almost be curtains, and so with pressure ratcheting up and the zone causing them problems, taking the timeout to try and decipher it, I think is a good call.
And so as the Prairies take break, so will we, and we will see in a minute.
So when that happens, when it gets to that point, or she blows the whistle at 100 minutes and says,
Offense, 15 seconds. Corey will talk to you on the stretch.
We are back on the pitch with Surly versus Happy Campers in this semi-final Grand Masters mixed game. If you're just joining us now, Surly are up 3 breaks on the Happy Campers, and we have just over 2 minutes to go to the hard cap.
Yeah, so if we haven't reached 15 by the time that goes on, and it's highly unlikely we will at this point, we finish when the hooter goes, we finish the point, add 1 to the highest score, and that becomes our new score cap.
Did you just call the whistle the hooter?
Well, I'm used to their tournaments where there's someone with a big old air horn doing it. But yes, that's absolutely what I called it.
Frisbee, Le Breton. Inside break to McFarlane, finding the hole to Nelson. On the sideline, a diving catch from Ware keeps it alive. Back to McFarlane, swinging it around. There is a call on the play.
A stoppage of some sort is being signalled. I'm not sure what exactly it was. However, I like this from Happy Campers because they got on the sideline and then rather than kind of keep it there or look for an aggressive downfield pass, just keep it moving, reset into the backfield, keep it swinging, keep the disc moving.
I think it might have been an injury call.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's usually the most...
Yeah, hands above the head, clasped together is an injury call. So Happy Campers are allowed to also take a sub here if they so choose, and it looks like they do.
Yeah, they've brought Saunders on for Smith.
McFarlane tracking down that reset pass, giving it back to Le Breton in the middle. McFarlane, as Surly have a bit of a 2-person cup, it kind of looks like. Le Breton again up to Kane. Saunders in the middle, just outside the end zone. Le Breton tries to jump it in, can't, but an easy pass to Kane for the score. Happy Campers with a much needed hold upwind.
And I think scored that just before the score cap, before the time cap went. So I think we finished this next point and then we add 1 to the highest score. But I will go and double check with the volunteers who are timekeeping.
Yeah, it was a really close call as to when that whistle went off. So we're going to take one quick look. There's Le Breton trying to jump it in, but Kaner waiting for it patiently on the other side of the end zone line for the score. Happy Campers now with a second chance at a downwind break. They will need this, and another one after it to tie the game up.
Just had confirmation from the game advisors and the volunteers that yes, the whistle went pretty much a second after the point was scored.
Wow.
So we will finish this point and then add 1 and play to that cap. So we'll either have 14-11 game to 15 or 13-12 game to 14.
What do you think it's going to be at this point, Benji?
I think given the way this game's gone in the second half, there's only been the 1 break which has gone Happy Campers' way. You'd feel like Surly are probably odds on to put this in, but it's by no means a sure thing. If it was, there'd be no point in playing it.
Saunders with the big pull.
A really good pull as well.
Yeah, Hunt lets it land. Thought maybe it was going to go out of bounds. It didn't. The catch on that one may have, though. And yes, indeed, it looks like Bailey puts it down. Happy Campers with this huge chance for another break.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's going to pick this up because Saunders has walked away from it saying, it's not me.
Looks like Stonehouse will be the lucky bingo on this pickup. Saunders in the middle now. Back to Stone. Oh, a great bid! Holy, from Hunt to keep the disc alive for Surly.
I thought you were going to swear there, and I nearly did as well. Woof! What a bid from Hunt! This is ridiculous. Oh, good Lord.
Wow.
You can't be doing that sort of thing when you're Grandmaster's age. It's not fair.
A timeout is called. I guess we'll take a quick break too. This is an exciting point in this game. We'll see you in a minute. We are back. We are in the hard cap of this semi-final matchup of Surly versus Happy Campers. US versus Canada. Winner to go on to the final game.
Yeah, the winner of this plays the winner of the other semi-final, Hijinks against the Molasses Disaster. That game has already been played, but I'm going to keep it a secret from you so you can watch it back on the live stream at your own pleasure before tomorrow's showpiece spectacle.
Surly now starting on offense. Happy Campers did get a turn, but could not keep position as a diving catch from Hunt got the D, but Surly will turn it themselves now, and Happy Campers with a second chance at a break here. Saunders over to Cham. Up to Hill. Flip to Chassé. And it looks like a bit of a strip there, or a foul. A strip is not a call, but a foul because the disc is an extension of the body when you are holding it in your hand.
The one change I would like to see to hand signals is a separate hand signal for strip compared to foul.
Will that be brought down by Wes Fraser? It is towed at the back of the end zone. Happy Campers with a break downwind. So huge for this team right now.
13-12, game to 14. If it wasn't before, it is very much game on. And a couple of crazy athletic plays this point. First, that layout snatch from Hunt to get the disc back from Surly, and they couldn't do anything with it. And then look at this from Fraser, the tiptoes, as he's falling out of bounds at the back of the end zone. That is stupidly good.
So it will be a game to 14, 13-12 on the scoreboard. If Surly can manage to put in this downwind O point for them, that's the game. They're going to finals. Happy Campers need this point to tie it up to make it universe point, but it will be a hard battle as it is a D point for them and upwind.
However, they are the only side to have got breaks in this half, and they just got a break then. So maybe you could say the momentum's in their favour.
Looks like they're just having a bit of a player switch. The hand signals there on the sideline from the game advisors, hands behind the head, means that it is supposed to be 4 men matching players on the line, 3 women matching players. Hands out to the side means 4 women matching. Hunt with the disc in the middle for Surly. A great grab by Brayshaw. I thought that was going to go over his head and sends it deep. Saunders is there with the D for Happy Campers and a layout to keep possession. No second chance possible for Surly, but Olender can't keep a hold of it, so Surly are just outside the end zone. A quick punch in and that's the game.
Saunders with the second effort grab and it comes to nothing. Surly are in the finals.
Exley with the finish for Surly. Surly is going to the finals. What a finish. That was an exciting finish.
Yeah, Happy Campers for a minute. It looked like that they might be able to mount the comeback. Saunders got the big block, and I love that he didn't just leave it there. He hustled to make sure that he could get the catch afterwards, to make sure that there was no one to pick up the trash. But then the throw into the centre. Olender stuck that arm out but couldn't get there, and Surly right on the doorstep, just pop it in, cool as a whole freezer full of cucumbers, and they will take their place in the finals tomorrow.
Happy Campers will get to play for 3rd place, though, so all is not lost. They still could come home with some hardware. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe not the colour that they were hoping for before the weekend, but you know, credit yourself because you gave a really good account out here on the field today, and pick yourself up and try and get that bronze medal tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic game here, a semifinals game. The Grand Masters Mixed Division will have their finals and 3rd place game tomorrow. Please join us then on our WFDF YouTube channel. We are copyright 2022 World Flying Disc Federation. This has been Troy Weston and Benji Reese, and we've just taken you for a spin.
Alti.tv.
Big jab.